So this will be a quick demo of Mutate++. First things first, I am running a virtual machine of Ubuntu on my Windows machine since this tool runs a lot better on a Linux machine than it does Windows or Mac. Besides that, technically before you would get this tool running, you need to do stuff like, create a virtual environment using Python. I've already done that, so we don't need to do that at all. From there, you would create the database, given these Python scripts, and installing all the requirements. We've already done that too, so now from here, we just need to go into our virtual environment, and then start it by running py. And that should start it up. From here, in order to even reach it, we need to access a certain IP, and here we are. So this is the basic tool. Here, let's full screen this, get a better idea. From here, we can just go to Home, access projects, our queue, and our mutators. For now, we're just going to stick with projects. I guess it still kept my old tests. That's good to know, but we're going to start a new one. I guess just to keep with the same, we'll name it test 3. Working directory, but we have to access, since I already made a project directory for this, we downloaded a example project from the GitHub they provide just to make this a little bit easier. So this will be our working directory. So we just take that, put that right in there. For our build command, we're just going to simply use make instead of cmake or anything like that. You'll have to install those yourself. We ignore quick check or quick check timeout. Those will just default to certain commands. For our tests, we're going to do ctest. And again, test timeout and clean command, we just leave those blank. And we'll create our project. So here's the basic overview of the project. We haven't run any of the tests, so all this is not important right now. We don't have any files, but it shows our workflow. So let's just quickly add a file. So here we have our example files. If we open this up real fast, we can see it has really simple methods of just subtract, add, and multiply. So we'll throw this in here. And what was that file called exactly? Oop. So source example cpp. Add that in. And now we have a file to start generating patches or tests. It's really simple. You just click on this button. For here, first line, last line dictate where in the program you want it to start the tests, aka the first and last line it should start at. We're going to leave those blank, so it'll do the whole file. Here it has a whole lot of options, what sort of tests you want to do, deleting whole lines, replacing operators, so on and so forth. You can pick and choose which ones you want, but we're going to leave them all blank, so it will default into doing all of them, or at least all of them that are possible to do. And we'll click on generate. It might take a minute here. And here we are. It says it has 14 patches, and now under patches we can click on this and check out everything it's done. This will tell us what kind of test it did. Most of these will be deletion and arithmetic operation changes, since it couldn't do much besides that. We can see all the patches that have that kind of delineation. And then we can click here to see exactly what it did. For example, it completely deleted this line. That's kind of going to screw things up a bit. Not really pass at all, but whatever. We're mostly concerned with the arithmetic operation changes. So over here it changed that plus and do a division. A lot of stuff like that. Modular. And then multiplication. So a lot of changes like that. From here, we can go back up to home, or technically go directly to queue, whichever you prefer doing. And from here it has the previous tests I've already done from other projects. But here it says we have 14 patches left to do. These patches are from Project Test 3, the one we just made, all from example.cpp. And all the kinds of tests that we have left to do. So from here, we simply hit resume. Give it a second. It doesn't upload in real time, so we might have to refresh to see what it did. Did a few tests. Give it another few seconds. And there we are. All patches done. So then we can head back to projects. Go to our test 3. And now we get a bit more details about how our tests did. For building them, 9 sort of failed. Well, 9 succeed in failing. Probably the ones that, deleted the method line itself and therefore couldn't even compile. So we don't really care much about those, but we did have one test that survived, and we can find that here. Test 42, a line deletion. Shows us what line it deleted. And then it'll show us the build it went through, and then the test. Admittedly, I wish it did show what test it ran through, but you'll have to go through your own files in the build to see what it did. And that's the basic gist of it all. To go in further detail, if this was handled by multiple people, you can go in and say like, oh, I've confirmed this test, submit that change, go back and see that it's changed to confirmed. Someone has indeed looked at it. And it's really that easy. It's mainly just building it. That is the real pain of this tool. Has a quick little addendum. We can also look at all the ones killed. Do the same thing we did with the one that succeeded. We can look at how it was built, the tests that ran, see that failed, so on and so forth, and see all the ones that indeed were killed. Or we can just go to all 14 in general and see them all laid out here. Pick which one you want to look at.